Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Welcome to Master of Business. My name's Gatley, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why it matters as much as it does to manage your energy. So we're going to look at why managing energy rather than time is one of the most important things you can do to enable your performance as a human being, but equally how you can influence the success of other people. So whether you're a manager, whether you're aspiring to be a manager, or whether you even have people in other areas of your life, for example, in a sporting club or some other pursuit, that you are responsible for influencing their success, then what I'll share with you today is how you can do that by influencing the strength of their spirit. So I'm going to talk to you about what that means and what are some of the most important things you can do to make sure that you are energised and up for the challenges of life. So I want you to imagine that your spirit is a ball of positive energy, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. It's this reserve of positive energy that has a profound influence on the way you think, the way you feel, and ultimately the way you choose to behave. So we're going to look at that in a lot more detail. The first point I want to make is that there is only so much time. So clearly it would be inaccurate to say that time doesn't matter. Clearly it matters. Time is obviously something we can leverage from a productivity perspective, an efficiency perspective. We can be focused on how we use the resource of time, but there is only so much of it. And what I want to share with you is the source of energy is actually endless. You can energise your own spirit. You can tap into energy when you feel that it's run out, when you feel like you're getting low in reserves. Whereas time, obviously, is not something we can turn back the clock. We can't necessarily create more time beyond using what we already have well. So in terms of tapping into this endless source of energy, why does this matter? You know, some of the things that I have observed in business, but also in sport, and in any area of life where people are endeavouring to achieve outcomes, that when people are energised, they're more likely to perform at their best. So optimising performance is clearly at the heart of what we're talking about here today. But clearly so is productivity. If you think for yourself how many moments in every day you switch off, how many moments you get distracted, you know, when you are low in energy, how well are you actually using the resources and opportunities in front of you? It's also about, you know, improving focus. Again, as I say, when you do lose energy, it can be very difficult to remain on target. It's very easy to become distracted and to shift your energy into things that perhaps aren't going to achieve the optimum outcome of what you're trying to. It's about sharpening your mind. Again, think for yourself, reflect on how focused, how on target you are in terms of your thoughts. What is your judgment skills like when you're energised relative to when you're not? Do you find your emotional intelligence becomes a little more challenged when you're drained of energy? So our mind is an incredibly important influencer, again, of the way we perceive the world and the decisions that we make in life. So if we want our mind to be at our best, if we want it to serve us well, we need to make sure, again, that we're managing our energy levels. It's also about optimism. You know, in my experience, energised people are typically believers. They're usually people who feel passion and feel engagement in what they're doing. But critically, it influences their ability to believe in the future as well as their ability to influence that future. It's equally about having resilience. You know, it can be incredibly difficult to come back from setbacks when we're low in energy. When life gets tough and we come against hurdles and we have to take a few steps back, to come back from that, to re-engage with what it is we're trying to achieve and to succeed takes energy. So resilience is absolutely about your mindset, but it's also about the fuel that allows you to stay in that headspace and come back, hopefully even stronger. It's also about confidence. You know, if you are energised, you're more likely, again, as I said, to have a strong mind and a healthy mindset and to have confidence in what it is that you're ultimately trying to achieve. And at the end of the day, the goal is to thrive. The goal is to be the best possible version of yourself and to allow yourself to fully apply your talents and achieve your dreams. So thriving means different things for every person. Sometimes thriving might be about achieving career goals. It also might be about having a sense of happiness. So understand as a starting point what thriving means to you, and then work to have the energy to allow that vision of your future to be your reality. So one of the most important things that you need to understand about managing energy is the link between that strength of spirit and your behaviour. So to sum up some of the things that I've already said, our behaviours are absolutely influenced by the way we think. If we're thinking optimistically, if we're thinking courageously, if we are thinking clearly, we're entirely more likely to behave in ways that enable our success. And that bridge absolutely comes down to, as I've said already, the strength of your spirit. So the way you think influences whether you are energised or drained, and whether you are drained or energised, in turn, influences how you think. So our minds and our spirit are intimately connected and ultimately influence the way you choose to and are able to behave. So again, if we envisage this ball of energy, what are the things that have the biggest influence? And this is, for all of us as human beings, we are each different. We each are influenced by and respond to different things in life. But there are lots of things about us that are the same. And as a starting point, for many of the people that I work with, to re-energise their spirit, they need to start here. And that is, first of all, with their mind, as we've spoken about, managing their thoughts, managing the things that go through their head, as I've commented on. But it's also about managing our bodies. And in a moment, I'm going to share a bit more insight with you about what that means. But our bodies unquestionably influence our energy levels, our minds, ultimately our performance. And this is one of the reasons why, as leaders, investing in the health and well-being of your people is actually smart business. If we're able to influence people's physical well-being, we're more likely to influence their mental well-being, and therefore we're more likely to influence performance. Two other key factors that, in my experience, have a profound influence are, first of all, our relationships. So every human being that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. So this clearly is our personal relationships, our professional relationships, whether that be with our staff, with our clients, with our suppliers, every person that we interact with. And then the final one is our environment. So that's our physical environment. So it's both the vibe, if you like, when you walk into an environment and can feel the energy in that space, but it's also about the physical environment. And again, I'm going to share a bit more insight with you into that in a moment. Let's spend a little bit more time talking about our minds. As I said, it is the filter through which we perceive reality. Our mind absolutely will enable us to see the good or the opportunity, or it will cause us to see the things that are difficult and challenging and hard or standing in our way in terms of being able to succeed. So whether it's our vision, so this is our dreams for the future, so what we imagine about the future for ourselves and our families and our businesses and our staff or whoever it might be, absolutely will energise or drain us. So if we have that optimistic view, if we have dreams, if we're striving, we're more likely to be energised than if we feel disconnected and really don't know where we're going and why we're going there. It's about our internal compass, again, will influence the way we think. So this is our values, it's our beliefs, it's our preferences, and even our intuition has a role to play in impacting the way we think. It's also about our perception, how we choose to perceive reality has a huge impact on whether we think it is energising or draining. And then finally, it's about our emotional intelligence and our temperament. So if we are able to understand our own emotions well, we're able to understand other people well, and we understand how we come together and how we impact each other, then we're more likely to be able to make conscious, considered decisions about how we allow those interactions to impact us. So in other words, if we know that there's certain things that press our buttons and certain people can make us feel certain ways, we can then choose our response to that. So awareness and how well we cope with our emotions, again, has a very big influence on the strength of our spirit. So moving on to another key area, as I mentioned before, is our bodies. So this is how our extent to which we are healthy and fit. So imagine for a moment a time in your life when you have been physically fit. That might be now, it might have been a short time ago, it might have been at another time in your life. But reflect for a moment what happens when you feel strong, when you actually feel healthy. And the stories I hear from most people, and certainly my own experiences, is that when our body is strong, we're entirely more likely to be mentally strong, and we're entirely more likely to be energised and obviously engaged. So some of the things we need to think about is, as a starting point, sleep. Sleep deprivation is in fact one of the primary reasons people underperform. And a huge number of us are not actually getting the base level of sleep we need every day. If we're not sleeping, we're not filing our stuff mentally, we're not re-energising our spirit, we're not resting our bodies, we're not recovering from injury or illness. We're robbing our bodies of the opportunity to repair and be well and recharged in order to go again the next day. So if nothing else you take from today, this session, please contemplate the extent to which your sleeping habits are helping you. And if you are struggling to sleep, then look at ways in which you can have a different routine before you go to bed, as one example, to start to shut your mind down and train your body and your mind that this is time to actually switch off. The next one is the fuel that we put into our bodies. So some food will absolutely energise us, and some food will actually, whilst give us a short-term burst, will ultimately drain us of energy. Again, how often do you have breakfast? Do you stop and have lunch? Do you actually take time out to think about eating rather than working and just shoveling some food down your throat at the same time? It is actually important to state the bleeding obvious that we do have 3 meals a day and that we do actually stop and make sure that we are nourishing our bodies. Now, clearly, it's also about exercise. I don't think that's particularly new news, that exercising is a good thing for us. But it's not necessarily about having to be an athlete. It's not necessarily about being able to run 10 kilometres. It's about...
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.